This video is about going to describe how to use pivot tables to convert flow data that, or it could be precipitation data that's in breakpoint format. Breakpoint, as far as time is concerned, format. You want to be able to calculate average values over time. Pivot tables make it easy to do that. So we're going to do this for the Little Cannon River data that was downloaded from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources USGS cooperative website. This is what the data looks like. The site name or the site number for that site, Little Cannon River, is shown in column A. Then column B has the time and date when the measurement was made, and you can see these are breakpoint values, so this would be 11:45 p.m., 11:30 p.m., 11:15 p.m., and so forth. The discharge rate is given here as well. Some comment about the accuracy or whether or not the data is good or not is shown in column D. Column F has the water level in the channel at the gauging station. And there's some other information here about precipitation, data logger, and so on. What we're going to do here is I'm going to clean this up a bit. We're going to get rid of all this additional information, auxiliary information, and we're just going to work with the timestamp and discharge data. Now you notice that the discharge data, or the dates of the data, start with the newest data, September 23rd, 2016. It actually goes down to 2004. So if we went way down here, there's many values. Goes down to 1998, not 2004. At the end of the record, the data are given as daily average flow rates. And timestamp is given as 0 because that's just for the day. Whereas starting in 2011 is when the breakpoint data is given, the 15-minute breakpoint data. And what we want to do is we want to make all the data the same format. We could use the breakpoint data in our analysis, but it's better to work with daily average values. So you can see here, here's October 2011, and prior to that, I don't know if I can get down to the bottom here or not easily. See, it starts to be daily values here in 2010. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process of converting the breakpoint data to daily average values. The first step that we need to make here, or do here, is to take these timestamp values and make them all the same time. That is, all the values on September 23rd, we got to convert the actual times to 0 time. And that's what's necessary for the pivot table algorithm. So here we can do that by just using the command trunc, which will just truncate the time, and we'll just make that a B2. You can see that let's see now. Good. Spell the name of the command correctly so that you can see that it puts a 0 there, and we can then copy that all the way down through 2011 if we want. I'm not going to do that for the whole thing. I'm just going to show you how to do this for the first 3 days shown here. So if we just copy and paste that in there, we'll see that all the September 23rd values have a time of 0, September 22nd have a time of 0, and so on. I want you to notice that there are some missing values of flow here, and those will not affect the average. It would be better, obviously, if there were a flow value that was recorded there. Something went wrong with data logger, let's say. might be the cause for the missing value. But there is a missing value, but those missing values don't affect the calculation of the average. The Excel will use whatever numbers are non-zero and will calculate the average based on that. Okay, so we need to have a label on the top of each of these. I'm going to put a label here. I'm just going to call this time. All right, so then we choose these two columns. I'm just going to go down through. So we're going to select the values down through September 21st that I've converted the times for. And you go to the Insert button and then click on Pivot Table. Well, that'll do is it says, well, do you want to do this in a new worksheet or the existing worksheet? So it's asking if you want to just place the pivot table directly in this worksheet or a new one, which would be in the same Excel file. It's just be in a different worksheet. Worksheets are all labeled here in the bottom. Right now there's just the one worksheet, hydro data. So I'm going to choose to have a new worksheet. The data file, the data that has been selected here is given here in column C and column E. And of course there's an error. So not sure why. I'll have to take a break here. Okay, the error that I found was that we can't have this column in here, this blank column. So I'm going to delete that blank column. And so now we've got just the two columns that we're going to work with next to each other. And so again, I'll copy these. Insert the pivot table. And it's got these two columns, all the data selected. And you can see you get this in this separate sheet, sheet 2. And over on the right hand side you'll see the titles of the two columns. So I'm going to choose the two columns. I think probably when I deleted column D to make it work, if I had actually put a dummy label for column D, it would have labeled it up here, and then I wouldn't have had to actually delete that column. When you use it, just think in terms of that. Basically, you want to only work with the two columns, discharge and time, but you could have as many columns in between there. They just need to have a label at the very top of the column, even if the column has a bunch of zeros in it. All right, so what we're going to want to do here is we're going to calculate the average values on each of the 3 days that we've analyzed. And we want to have the rows have time, and the time is going to be the day, individual days, and the discharge values are the values we're trying to calculate the average of. And what you can do is you can either drag this down to this summation values box, or you can move it. It says move to value, so you can either drag it down or you can move it down. You can see I've done that here. So now the rows are made up of time, or are labeled as time, and the values that we're calculating right now are just the sum of all the discharge, the numbers that are associated with each of the days. So if you look here, you've got September 21st, September 22nd, September 23rd, those 3 days. The count of discharge is given here. We want the average, so come over here and select the value that's being calculated, in this case the count of discharge, we want to set the field, and what we want is not the sum, because if I took the sum, we'd see that we'd have very large numbers there. I want the average. So the count is just how many values were associated with that day. So 15 minutes times, that'd be basically 4 times 24, because there's 4 values per hour. Here we want the average, not the maximum, not the minimum, not the product, so on. It's the average. Okay, so for the 21st of September, the average discharge is 133. September 22nd, it was 2125, and September 23rd is 602. So if we were to do this for the entire record from September 23rd, 2016 down to January 1st, 2011, we would have daily average values, and that could then, that result that we have there, these could be pasted into a separate Excel spreadsheet, and then just add to it the values that are already daily average starting from December 31st, 2010 down to the 1998 date that's given. Okay. The way it's plotted, the way the data are organized right now, they're given as the newest down to the oldest. You could sort that so that you'd have the oldest and then down through the newest. That's not really necessary for the kind of analysis we're doing here, so we can just leave it the way it is. But like I say, I mean, we create another sheet like what we see here, just using this one as the master sheet to work from. We calculate those average discharge values, and we can just make a new sheet in which we paste all the information in, but now you're going to have daily average values all the way through from 2016 down to 1998. And from that, then you're able to use that in the analysis that we want to follow along with.